Psalm 121. Esainai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz Esainai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri Esainai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz.
It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. I invite you to join with me now in the recitation of Psalm 23. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, and restores my soul. Lead me in right paths for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Eshet Chayil mi Yimsa, a good wife who can find. Her worth is far beyond rubies, and the heart of her husband shall entrust in her, and nothing shall he lack. She renders him good, not evil, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy, extends it to the poor. She is robed in strength and dignity and cheerfully faces whatever may come. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. She tends to the affairs of her household and eats not the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband, too, he praises her. Many women have done superbly, but you, Barbara, surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Place before her the fruit of her hands. Wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. It is my honor to be here today to pay tribute to Barbara and be here with the family as we shepherd them through this time in their lives, this time of grief and challenge and memory. I'm here with my colleague, Cantor Vladimir Lappin. I'm Rabbi Josh Caruso of Anshe Chesed, Fairmount Temple. I want to acknowledge some of my colleagues who are here today, Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria, Cantor Alyssa Rosenbaum, and I believe I saw Rabbi Sharon Marcus. If there's anyone else here, apologies, but it just speaks to the connections and the Jewish blessing that is part of this family's life. I'd like to invite Barbara's husband, Sheldon. He'd like to share a few words about his bride.
All of you knew Barbara, so much of what I'm going to say you already know, but perhaps I can give you some insight into our loving marriage for 66 years. Barbara was beautiful, and she brought beauty into everything that she did. Many have asked me how we met, and that's kind of a interesting story. My family in the summer of 2056, 55, 56, we moved on to Cedar Road, and Barb's family lived on Glen Hill directly behind us, directly behind our house. There was a fence that separated us. And one day my dad, using a pair of binoculars, looked out across the fence and saw a beautiful lady who had red hair. And he said, "Boy, you have to meet her. You just have to meet her." So my dad, being a very, very resourceful, got her telephone number and arranged a blind date, so to speak. And I picked up Barbara, and I went to the front door expecting to find a red-headed woman. Well, the red-headed turned out to be Barb's mother. Barbara, of course, had blonde hair and was absolutely beautiful. So we went out on a date, and we went out on many dates after that. And she was 16 years old. She was in high school. She was a very mature 16-year-old. She had worked during her time in high school. I can't describe how taken I was with her and her incredible beauty and maturity. And so the rest of that summer, we dated frequently. And then I went back to the Ohio State University, and I came in whenever I could to see her. That was my junior year. I came back to see her frequently, and then one day she came down to Columbus to visit me, and my fraternity brothers serenaded her, and I gave her my fraternity pin. Then after that, we continued to see each other frequently. And then on February 9, 2057, the following year, we were engaged. Now you wonder, how do I remember the date, February 9? Well, it's simple. Barb never forgot the date and reminded me every single year that that was the day on which we were engaged. Then, of course, on August 11 of that year, we were married at Fairmount Temple. She had, and we were raised 4 children in a 10-year period. They were all born. They were not all raised. But by the way, their names are a little curious. Every one of them, their first name begins with a J, and every middle name begins with a B. And Barb wanted to do that, she said, because when they went to summer camp, it was easier to put their initials on everything that they had. But insofar as the kids are concerned, she was the one who really raised them. When it came to their education, she was tough. She insisted that they spend whatever time was necessary to be well educated and do well in school. And where they had specific talents, she encouraged them to use those talents that were not academic. Jamie started out with ballet, went on to ride horses, and all the kids remember Jamie's horseback riding because she rode all over the Midwest, and they either fortunately or sometimes maybe unfortunately watched all that time. Jonathan had a bent for tennis, strung tennis rackets, as did Jordan for a long time, and became a tennis pro. Such as it was. Let me, while I have a chance to say something. I could not be any more proud, and nor was Barbara any more proud than she could be of our kids. But as some of you may know, Barb had a sudden heart attack earlier this week. It was almost beyond belief, although she had been suffering. I'll get into that a little bit later. But she died, and under these circumstances, after 66 years of marriage, I don't know how I would have survived without the help of our kids. I mean, they are amazing kids, and not only am I proud of them, but thankful for everything they've done for us, and in the last week or so, what they've done for me. Let me just give you an idea of what kind of life we had. Barb was very religious. Actually, she grew up in an Orthodox home, but Judaism was important to her, and I'm sure not everybody had the kind of sukkah that we had every year, which, going into my scouting years, we managed to lash together. Nothing prefab about it, but there was some unusual things about it. Not every sukkah has gourds and flowers. This one, everyone we built, that's the way Barb decorated it. Religious, yes. Beauty. She lent that to them. Going back to my scouting years, when the kids got old enough, I took them camping and canoeing, wilderness canoeing, wilderness camping, mostly in Canada. And as each one got old enough, they joined us, and finally, all four of them took trips with us to Canada. And Barb missed them. And going camping and canoeing, wilderness camping and canoeing was not something which was part of her background. And staying at a motel was the closest thing to being going camping as Barb could ever experience. However, because she missed them, she came with us on an occasion, and believe it or not, she enjoyed it. So, as a family, we did that for many years. That's what we did in the summer. In the winter, we during the Christmas and New Year vacation, we'd go down to Florida. We did not fly. That would have been an impossibility. But we drove, and we drove all the way from Cleveland down to Disney World and to Marco Island, and the kids and I did some water sports, but that was our summer vacation. Then when the kids grew up, which they had to grow up, that they probably the way they did. Barb and I did a fair amount of traveling. We went to Italy, France, Spain, England, and curiously, some of those trips we actually rented a canoe and saw some things from the water. And Barb and I, then, the one who didn't have canoeing and camping in her background, we would go every summer up to watch the Shaw Festival, and we would then go camping and canoeing up in Canada, and eventually we canoed and camped all over Canada, including Nova Scotia. And I'll tell you what happened as a consequence of that a bit later. But everything that Barb did was just filled with beauty. We built 3 homes. One when I graduated from school and became employed. We built a home on Fairmount Boulevard, where we lived for roughly 10 years. And Barb decorated that house, And then we lived on Beachmont Court, and she decorated that house. And by decorating, I mean, this is the thing of love and beauty once again. We went to antique stores, we went to junkyards to pick out handles and hardware and what have you. And then eventually, in 1988, I bought a lot from a client in Hunting Valley. And we got plans drawn, raised some funds to build the house. And it took us 6 years till 1994 to finish the house and move in. We still live there today, and it's a Tudor, and I'll bet very few people ever can imagine a Tudor house that has pine wood. Well, when we went to Nova Scotia, where they have nothing but pines, we discovered that all their homes, all their buildings were finished in pine. We loved it. And so our Tudor is completely pine. And Barb picked out everything in the house, from flooring to rugs, to every piece of furniture, to every piece of art. She loved every minute of it. And of course we then lived there. And even as I mourn her passing, she's there. The house is hers. The beauty is there, and it's hers. Everything that's beautiful that I experience is Barbara's touch of beauty. And her mother was a gardener, and Barbara picked up that talent, and every house we had a rose garden, and that were absolutely beautiful. She raised roses and dahlias once more, just part of the beauty that she brought with her every place. The last year was not a good one. We had stopped doing canoeing and camping. We still went to the Shaw Festival, but we didn't do any canoeing and camping for a couple of years because one of her knees got so bad that she was having difficulty walking. So she had knee replacement surgery in June of I guess it's June of last year. June of last year. And she never recovered from it. Surgery was okay, recovery was terrible. And for the last year, she found herself in a wheelchair. And as you can probably imagine, somebody who was a great cook and loved gardening and what have you, couldn't do anything. She was confined to the wheelchair, and it was something which she never got used to, and it was pure misery for her. And then of course, as I mentioned, she had this sudden heart attack, and if there could be anything good about it, her suffering stopped. And the heart attack was sudden. It's kind of interesting. Every holiday that we had, every anniversary, birthday that she had, I would give her a card of some kind, but every card was signed the same way. All my love forever and ever. And in the last few years, it became forever and ever and ever and ever. And her last birthday in September, we mused, what does forever mean? And we didn't have an answer. I have an answer. She's gone, but my love for her will endure. It won't stop. I'm surrounded by everything that she had, to which she lent her beauty. And once again, thank heavens for our kids and what they've done for both of us over the years, and particularly for me over the last week. That's about all I can say. After 66 years, 67 years that I knew her, that's a lifetime. I will miss her, but I will not stop loving her or appreciating her beauty and all the beauty around me that she created. Thank you very much.
My name is Lisa Berns. I am Barbara's daughter-in-law, and I have some sentiments to write from my children and myself. This is from my son Caleb, who couldn't be here today. He's in college at The Ohio State University. Although it is extremely hard to say goodbye, I am beyond thankful for all the wonderful experiences, lessons, and time I got to share with my grandma. Whether it was sleepovers at my grandparents' house with my cousin Jackson, attending orchestra concerts, or family dinners, your warm memories will always hold a special place in my heart. The morals and values that you have instilled in me have made me the person I am today, and I will continue to work hard to always make you proud. You have consistently been there to support me. When my parents took Allie to Boston for her heart surgery, you drove Sarah and I to school, schlepped us to our activities, and took us to dinner. You made sure we felt safe and loved. You were a doting and dedicated grandma and always asked how I was and made me feel special. You were exceptionally kind, caring, and generous. I remember how you always remembered to call me before my track meets to wish me luck and tell me that no matter how I did, you were incredibly proud of me, and I would go on to do great things. I remember December 9th, 2022. It was decision day for The Ohio State University. We were at dinner at one of your favorite restaurants, Hunan by the Falls. When I found out I was accepted, I remember your beaming smile and how happy you were for me. You always had a radiant smile that will continue to live through all of us. You will be greatly missed, and I will continue to strive every day to carry on your legacy and make you proud. I love you, Grandma. Love, Caleb. The next message is from my daughters, Allison and Sarah. We are gathered here today to celebrate the life of a remarkable woman, our sweet grandmother, Barbara. Grandma Barbara was so full of life, always compassionate, inspirational, loving, giving, kind-hearted, beautiful, and the list could go on. Anyone who had the pleasure of knowing our grandmother couldn't help but adore her. She was the person that made sure everyone was taken care of and put everyone before herself. Our grandma loved hosting people for the holidays, cooking, baking, shopping, and being with her family. At weekly dinners, she was always keeping up with our activities and school life, asking the common questions: what's happening? How is school? Do you like your teachers? What activities do you have this week? Making conversation go on for hours. Our grandma's presence always filled the room with comfort and belonging. Whether it was through a kind word, a gentle touch, or simply the way she carried herself, she had the ability to make people feel valued and loved. It is with gratitude that we write this letter to our beloved, sweet Grandma Barbara. Dear Grandma, it is impossible to put into words the depth of love and gratitude we have for you. Your presence in our life has been a constant source of comfort, wisdom, and unwavering love. Not only were you the best grandma in the world, but someone we were lucky to have as a guiding light in our lives, a source of love and a wealth of wisdom. We remember all the endearing moments we shared, the stories you told, and the lessons you taught. Your stories were more than just tales of the past. They were lessons in resilience, compassion, and the enduring power of love. Your wisdom was a beacon and your laughter a balm for the soul. Thank you for always making us feel loved, cherished, and nurtured. The countless girls' days we had, having brunch at the Pancake House, followed by getting our nails done, and many hours shopping around Marshall's, your favorite, will forever be some of our favorite memories with you. Each girls' day with you was an unforgettable adventure. You had a special way of showering us with love and care, and every time we came over, you would always have bags full of clothes from Marshall's. Your love for buying us clothes had no bounds. Your keen eye for style, combined with your understanding of each of our individual preferences, always felt like a personalized gift picked just for us, even though we always knew you liked it when we matched. Sharing the joy of trying on the outfits you bought us are forever etched in our hearts, and a reminder of how put together you always were, with a pretty sweater, black pants, burgundy nails, and a pink or red lipstick. Your unwavering dedication to spending quality time with us, even amidst times you were supposed to be doing other things, was a testament to the boundless love and priority you placed on family and your grandchildren. You were our favorite person to call, and we were so lucky to receive multiple calls from you a week. Your calls were a ray of sunshine, and the sweetest messages you left when we missed your calls were a reminder of your thoughtfulness. Our phone calls were precious moments filled with laughter, updates on our day, and excited discussions about the adventures the coming week held in store, ending with a "love you, see you soon." Cooking and baking with you was our favorite thing to do with you. Being in the kitchen with you cooking for the holidays was a joy that is indescribable. You were without a doubt the best chef in our eyes, always whipping up our favorite dishes, including your signature chicken noodle soup, mouth-watering brisket, and the most delectable desserts. You taught us recipes that will be carried on through generations to come. Your famous raspberry pie, with its perfect balance of sweetness and tartness, remains a family favorite. And of course, your rich caterpillar cake, a delightful and whimsical creation, became your legacy, known and cherished by your grandchildren. Each time we recreate these dishes, we will be reminded of your love, your skill, and the countless happy moments we spent together in the kitchen. You are a backbone of unwavering support in our lives. You were a sturdy anchor in the sea of life's challenges, always there to lend a helping hand or a listening ear when we needed it most. You dropped everything to be there whenever we needed you and stood by us through every triumph and challenge. When Allie had her heart surgeries, you made sure Caleb and Sarah were taken care of in every way, from the drives to and from school, helping Sarah with her schoolwork, and taking Sarah to dinner each night, including piccolo, a meal she will never forget. Just so everyone knows, our grandma had the best taste in so many things, but this restaurant she loved just never quite hit the mark for me. However, her dedication and presence was like a comforting beacon in the storm, providing us with the strength and reassurance we needed during those challenging times. Just a few weeks ago, we had an important election for school. It hadn't gone the way we wanted. We were very upset. That night, we had a family dinner, and we were telling her how we were upset with the outcome. You started talking to us, reassuring us that it was going to be all right, and how we can still shine just as bright without a lead role. Your wisdom was soothing, and your advice was never judgmental or critical. It was rooted in a deep understanding of our feelings and a genuine desire to see us find happiness and success. Your words were a reminder that life's challenges were opportunities for growth and learning. Your optimism regarding the problem was infectious, and your ability to turn setbacks into stepping stones left an enduring impact on how to approach tough times to come. You were the best advice giver, always bringing light to upsetting situations, making sure we knew it was going to be okay in the end. The guidance you have provided us is a precious gift that continues to guide us even in your absence. Thank you for shaping us into the people we are today. Your influence on us was profound, leaving an unforgettable mark on our character and values. You instilled countless characteristics in us: empathy, wisdom, kindness, and the power of resilience. You are not only a source of comfort, but a role model, demonstrating through your actions the kind of people we aspire to be. Your wisdom and life experiences were a wealth of knowledge from which we will continue to be reminded of in the countless life lessons we come across. Grandma, although you are no longer here physically, the memories we made together will always live on within us. Your departure leaves a void that cannot be filled. However, we know your spirit is with us, reminding us of the wonderful woman you were. While we are filled with a deep sense of loss, we are comforted by the knowledge that your memory will forever reside in our hearts. We know you would tell us to keep going, to work hard, to stay true to ourselves, guiding us to have futures and lives just as bright as yours was. You will be profoundly missed and cherished, but your legacy of love will continue to shine in everyone who was lucky to know you. Thank you for the best 18 years you gave to us, and for being the best grandma with the most beautiful soul. We love you to heaven and back and miss you dearly. May your memory be a blessing to everyone who had the honor and privilege to know. With eternal love and gratitude, your granddaughters, Allie and Sarah. And before I knew this was going to be really long, sorry, I wrote something. My sentiments are ironically entitled, All Things Beautiful. As one of Barbara's 3 daughter-in-laws, I am honored to be given the opportunity to speak at her service today, and I hope to make her proud. To meet Barbara was to be graced with beauty. Tall and thin, she stood confidently, stunning blue eyes and blonde hair, not a piece out of place. A well-put-together outfit, a pretty scarf, dark nail polish, and an eloquently well soft-spoken voice that was welcoming and made you feel special. I remember the first time I met my future mother-in-law. It was random, unplanned chance encounter with my then date, Justin. I wasn't prepared, so of course I freaked out a little, the parents. However, it was less threatening since we ran into Barbara and Shelley at Gamekeepers when we were out to dinner with friends. One-on-one was another story. She scared me more than my father-in-law. The tough exterior contradicted who she truly was. Barbara had a huge heart, a caring spirit, and a deep religious core. But do not anyone think that tough persona wouldn't come back, especially when it came to protecting her family, to which she was fiercely loyal and protective. What a blessing to know she's now in heaven to watch over us. To me, she was movie star-esque, Jackie O-ish, graceful and classy, Grace Kelly-ish, beautiful and talented, Audrey Hepburn-ish, elegant and ladylike, glamorous, stylish, and proper. It was a level I wasn't used to. But me being me, I rose to the occasion. After all, I was a proud alumni of The Ohio State University, which I knew was a selling point for Shelley. Besides, who doesn't love a nurse? Well, I guess unless you don't like doctors. Everything Barbara put her heart into was done exceptionally well, deliberately with thought, ending with perfection. She had an unparalleled affinity for creating, be it a majestic flower arrangement, a 5-course meal, her splendid garden, or a festive holiday table. She was well respected and put on a pedestal higher than the supreme. Her opening line was, "Everyone good?" ending with, "Love you all." No matter what she ordered at a restaurant, when it came, 90% of the time before she even tasted it, she remarked it was cold. Coffee, tea, and soup were required to be scalding hot. Her seat at the table was always strategically thought out. She loved pecan rolls, BLT sandwiches, turkey bacon, of course, Mitchell's Fine Chocolates on Lee Road, hot fudge sundaes with whipped cream from Mally's in Mentor, Brennan's Fish House, Blazin' Bill's, pepperoni pizza, thin crust, well done from Mama Santa's, Long Stem Roses, cooking, baking, gardening, and reading. She was 100% happy being a wife, mother, and the world's best grandma, although she never would have worn the T-shirt out of the house. She knew bank tellers, grocery clerks, pharmacists, hairdressers, waitresses, TJ Maxx and Marshall employees, and just about everyone else by their first names. Anyone who came into her home to help her or visit was greeted with a hot cup of coffee, a cold beverage, or a snack. She was a seasoned bargain shopper and such an avid enthusiast and regular patron of TJ Maxx and Marshall's that they all knew her by name, as well as her family members by name. She would be the one to find the needle in the haystack, even increasing her odds to score a great find by regularly visiting all the locations in the area. The women there knew her taste and would even put merchandise aside and call her to come look. She was a cornerstone in the foundation of this family, a pillar of strength and a well of wisdom. The immense love she harbored for her family was evident. Her children were her pride, her joy, and her greatest accomplishment. As a mother, she nurtured them with love that was pure. She encouraged them to chase their dreams, to carve their paths, and to live life with authenticity and courage. She believed without a doubt that her 4 children were perfect, and even if they weren't, she never said otherwise. She was proud of each of them as well as her 13 grandchildren. It was her personal philosophy to never say a bad word publicly about other people. Barbara lived life on her terms and was fortunate enough to die exactly the way she would have wanted, in her own beautiful home, surrounded by her best friend and devoted husband of 66 years. Her departure leaves a void and emptiness that seems almost insurmountable. But in the midst of this sorrow, there lies a glimmer of hope, a flicker of life that promises that her spirit will live on in the lives she touched, in the heart she nurtured, and in the love she bestowed. She will forever be remembered for the beauty she created and the things that she loved to do, as well as for the love that she spread to others through her kind gestures. While she may not be here with us physically today, her gentle spirit will remain in our hearts forever. The first time that I met you, I was nervous as could be, unsure if you would like me, but you put me right at ease. You made me feel so welcome, and I knew you were sincere. You encouraged me with your kind words. You took away my fears. You treated me as your own in your very special way, made me a part of your family, and I treasure that each day. Thank you for accepting me and loving me as you do. I thank Hashem for your family and for blessing me with you. Thank you.
Let me just say, I hadn't heard this before Lisa read it. I'm not going to say anything because I can't top that. Not that this is about up wanting somebody. But what I do want to do is thank all of you on behalf of myself, my sister, my brothers, my father, and all of our kids for all the support you've given to us over the last few days. It means a tremendous amount to us, and we sincerely appreciate it. Thank you.
Psalm 16. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, ki mimini balemot. Lachen samach libi, vayagel kevodi, af besari, yishkon lavetach. Ki lo tazov nafshi lishol, lo titein chasidcha lirot shachat. Todieni orach chaim, orach chaim. sova semachot et paneha, neimod bimin hanetzach. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, ki mimini bal emot.
Dear God, this day be with us. Wrap us in your presence like a blanket. Comfort our saddened souls. May the grieving family find solace in the love they share, in the devotion of friends and community, and in the knowledge of your sheltering presence. God, console us all in the faith that Barbara lives on among us, in every family celebration, in each of our smiling memories, in the legacy of her generosity of spirit, in her devotion to friends and family. Dear God, Shomei Tefillot, hear our prayers. Find favor in this child of Israel. May she be welcomed into your presence forever. Amen. So many beautiful sentiments have been shared. I'll just accentuate a few and share some of my own learnings after meeting with the family. As Sheldon said, when the children were young, every year during the Jewish festival of Sukkot, Barbara would work with the kids to build the sukkah, the special DIY outdoor booth erected to symbolize both God's protection and life's vulnerability. If you knew Barbara, you could imagine she went all out to adorn that sukkah with the most special of decorations. The flowers, Sheldon, the corn husks, and most strikingly was the cornucopia of autumn's fruits furnished in front. It was apparent that Sukkot, featuring a homemaker's special touch, was tailor-made for Barbara. Today, as we remember her for blessing, the symbol of the sukkah is an appropriate one as we share memories and reflections of her life and the shelter she provided as a wife, mother, grandparent, great-grandparent. Her greatest joy was to be an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor to her family. She loved caring for Sheldon and her accomplished children, Jamie, Jonathan, Jordan, and Justin. Yes, the J's and the JBs. Barbara relished her role as a homemaker, but she was so much more. Raising the kids in Beechwood, she viewed herself as a kind of parent coach, purposefully raising her kids with an eye towards preparing them for adulthood. Indeed, the kids knew from an early age that they should not waste their days. There was no sleeping in. As a result, idle time was frowned upon and outside interests were encouraged. Each child had their activities, whether it was horseback riding, ballet, tennis, all the undertakings, and proper deportment was a value, as she sought to teach her kids how to dress well, to understand decorum. To Barbara, there was a beauty in the formality, a beauty in order. She also teased out her own interests, enjoying an active social life, maintaining friendships established since high school, mahjong, tennis, volunteering with Ort. She was a proud homemaker, and Barbara's role in the home was primary. She relished preparing a special dessert for the kids when they got home from school, like cupcakes, and providing for their friends, too, with the question, can I get you something cold to drink? Something hot to drink? In fact, Barbara relished hosting so much that she would delight in preparing lunch for the very people she hired to take care of her own home. Under Barbara's sukkah was a perfectly appointed dinner table. One of the kids called the family dinner table the nexus of gravity. Featuring those 5-course meals was something fitting for each one of her food finicky kids. On that table, you could find the trendy dishes of the day, like her ginger soy swordfish or her tangerine chicken, and standards like her Caesar salad, noodle kugel, and tzimmus. Perhaps the OG Eshet Chayil was Barbara's mother, Thelma, with whom she shared a very close relationship. The kids remember Shabbat evening dinners with their grandma and how their friends delighted in joining them, even coming from college, so that they could have that experience too. In her time growing up at home, Barbara learned a lot. Born to Aaron and Thelma Begun, and sister to Sherry, Barbara was still in high school, as Sheldon mentioned, when he discovered this woman who would be his bride for so many years. They dated and they moved on, and Sheldon, you told me that you brought her a red rose every day when you were living in Columbus. And that was fitting because you said she brought beauty into everything. Under Barbara's sukkah, she and Shelley brought these beautiful 4 kids into the world in 10 years. There was order and routine, and the kids all experienced a foundation of consistency, down to the trusty dinner bell that she would ring for the kids to come home. The bell was loud enough that the whole neighborhood knew when the Berns kids were called home for dinner. And in time, Barbara attached a long cable to the bell so that she could ring it from the kitchen. Family time was sacred, including those long drives in the station wagon to Florida. Sheldon or the older kids would drive, never Barbara, but she would be sitting in the front seat offering unsolicited advice. And of course, there were the requisite stops to Stuckey's, AAA triptychs, remember those? They would guide the way, but finding the right hotel was a challenge. Barbara placed a priority on cleanliness, and there were times when, road-weary, the family would walk into a hotel room, luggage in hand, only to be marched back out to the car if Barbara deemed it unsuitable for lodging. Poor Sheldon probably had already driven 9 hours back on the road until Barbara was satisfied. And even with her high standards, Barbara missed the kids when they would go camping, as Sheldon mentioned, and they took those beautiful camping, got dirty. It was not glamping for her, but she loved it, and she loved spending time, and the beauty of the landscapes drew her in. Barbara liked things just so. She liked beautiful things. She gardened and cultivated those roses and dahlias, liked nice clothing, and made sure she was always put together. Indeed, Barbara had a grace about her and an old world way of doing things. She was an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor, and shared the love of homemaking with her daughter-in-law, Amy. They found a kindred spirit in one another and enjoyed going on garden tours together, among other connections. Lisa remembers how grateful she was when Barbara helped her plan her wedding to Justin. Those trips to visit Thelma at Menorah Park, getting lunch and doing those wedding things. And Patty still uses Barbara's tzimmus recipe, and they shared a love of using just the right Yiddish word when telling a story. Barbara was so very proud of her grandkids. Maya and Gabriel, Alex, Max, Josh, Danielle, Abby, Zoe, Eliza, Jackson, Caleb, Allie, Sarah, and of course Maya and Gabriel's partners, Aaron and Jonathan. She was always asking about them and was excited to see them when they came to visit. And Barbara was also really blessed to welcome her great-grandchild, Quinn, into the world just a couple of years ago. Thank God for my family, Sheldon has proclaimed many times, including today right here at this lectern. Because Sheldon and Barbara felt very blessed that they were to have all 4 kids residing in town. It was the very knowledge that they were near which gave Barbara and Shelley the confidence to live as independently as they could, even as they moved into their senior years. Jamie, Jonathan, Jordan, and Justin were their safety net throughout. And through it all, Barbara was driven to live her life proudly as a Jew, celebrating the holidays with flair. Early on, Shelley and Barbara were aligned that their kids should have a Jewish education and know their heritage. Today, each one of their children bears a special connection to Judaism, and Sheldon mentioned just how proud they were of that fact. These last 5 years saw a decline in Barbara's ability to be as active as she wished. You had mentioned, Sheldon, about her knee problems. And you know, she was quite hard-headed about seeing doctors for her ailments and pushed through the pain over and over again. And even during those challenging times, she was grateful to share meals with Shelley and the kids, even if they simply did it through takeout. And even though Barbara could not construct a physical sukkah any longer or prepare the dinners, she so loved to orchestrate. She left an indelible mark on her family that will not soon be forgotten. Today, we pay tribute to a life worthy of honoring. Barbara leaves a beautiful legacy to follow. Zichrona livracha. May her memory forever be a blessing. And let us say, Amen. We invite you at this time to rise at your seats as you are able for the chanting of El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kiddoshim Utehorim Kezor Arakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Bracha Bat Aaron V'Telma Shechalcha Le'olama Bal Arachamim Yastireha B'Seiter Kenafav Le'olamim V'yitzror B'yitzror Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach b'shalom al Nava v'nor. Amen. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May Barbara's memory be for us a blessing, and may we never let the light of her love and beauty grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, that her memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May Barbara's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share not be severed in sorrow. May she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen.
As we turn to the conclusion of our service, we send our love and support to the family. We will move from Berkowitz-Kumin Funeral Home to Beit Olam Cemetery. And following the cemetery, family will receive friends at 26935 Hurlingham Road in Beechwood. 26935 Hurlingham. Today, family will be sitting from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then tonight from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then tomorrow, Friday, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. In lieu of flowers, friends who wish may contribute to the Alzheimer's Association or City Music Cleveland.
ladies, would you in the middle, please? Fathers, you're going to lift up on the casket.